Okay, there's a series of questions that are really important to ask yourself about your idea or your whatever you want to build. And these are questions that typically are asked by investors or when you're applying to incubators. And although they apply typically to startups that are raising money and they are looking for that big exit, they're great questions to answer yourself for whatever idea you come up, for whatever type of business you want to do online. And actually, I try to answer these questions for any idea that I have. And I keep a list of ideas on an Excel sheet, like everything I do. My entire business is run on Excel sheets. And what I do is I try to see what would I answer, or if I have reasonable good answers for each of these questions. Because if you don't, then there's something missing, and that's you should address that question and make sure you have a good answer. Even if you're not raising money for you to build a startup, it's a really good exercise. So I'm gonna do two. I'm going to show you two sets of questions. One it was a generic questionnaire that I've heard that a lot of investors ask for, and the other one is the actual questions that Y Combinator, the incubator from Silicon Valley, asks through their application form when you're submitting an idea to be accepted. And it's a good exercise to do yourself. So the first idea is an idea. It's like describe your idea. What are you solving? Who has this problem? How are you resolving this problem? What's your business model? How are you going to make money? It's a great, fantastic idea, but how are you going to generate money? Competition. Very important to understand that whatever you do, most likely there's going to be competition, and it's a big red flag if your answer is, I don't have a competition, nobody else is doing this. Because typically 9 out of 10 times it means that the reason why there's not competition is because there is not a market. If there was a market, you can be sure that there was already somebody trying to monetize it somehow. So make sure that you research your market, and there should be some kind of competition. It may not be a direct competitor, but there's certainly, if there's a market, there's already, this is like, okay, if there's meat on the ground, it's very unlikely there's not already some bacteria or maggots or vultures on it already trying to eat it. I mean, that's a horrible analogy, but that's true. Imagine the piece of meat is the market. Pieces of meat don't stand on the ground left and alone for a long time. So there's guaranteed there's going to be some competition. So see what other people are doing. Differentiation. Okay, so if there's competition, how are you different than those people? How are you going to differentiate? How are you going to convince a potential customer to choose you instead of the competition? You really have to think hard about that. And challenges. All right, so what are the things that there was this other investor, I forgot his name, but he said, I don't want to know how you're going to succeed. That's fantastic. I want to know what are all the possible things that could go wrong, that are likely to go wrong, that will prevent you from succeeding, because those are the ones that you really have to address and solve as soon as possible. And 9, resources. What contacts, capital, facilities, and other assets will be required to execute the idea? All right, so you have this fantastic idea. What are you going to need? So for a lifestyle business, there's not a lot of things that you need in terms of upfront investment. You just need your website and starting your blog. You have to pay for a domain, for web hosting, and maybe for a laptop, obviously. But those are like really minimum stuff. You can really start with $1,000, even less than that. If you already have a computer, $100. People have started companies like online lifestyle online businesses, no problem. But it's not just the hardware and all of that. What other people? What are the key people you should be connecting with in your industry in order to maximize your chances of success? That's why I said working alone is a no-no. Make sure that you're involving people in your industry. And 10th, fit. Do I have the appropriate skills and passion to successfully execute this idea? This theme keeps repeating itself. It's not whether the market exists, that it would be wonderful that you wouldn't have the resources. Are you actually the right person to do it? Both in terms of the skills and the passion. If you don't have the skills, you could go ahead and build and gain more experience. Take an online course like this one to learn more, or go back to school or ask questions to mentors or something like that. But the big question is, do you have the passion to do it? And if you don't, then don't do it. And next, we're going to go over Y Combinator's questionnaire, where I actually answer the questions as if I was applying as Grumo Media. They would never really invest on a company like Grumo Media because it's not a startup, it's a service-based business. But I think it's an interesting exercise to show you what I would answer for those questions. Hey, did you enjoy this video? If you want to see more like this, just subscribe here. If you want a free gift, click here. Yeah. Which one is going to be the one you click? La 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 li 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 li. Oh.